Hello, welcome to day 15 of my daily vlog. Still going, so that's kinda nice, getting to the third week. I have nothing to talk about today that's sort of new or interesting, so instead I decided to get one of my topics that I wanted to talk about. I find it quite interesting how disconnected society has become from death. Quite a serious topic, I know. If you look around yourself, we don't get to see death anywhere anymore. We see it on TV, sure, and we see it in some programs or something, but it's always such a curated experience, in my opinion. And I think that it's a stark contrast to how you see death when it really happens, which is very seldom in cities at least, and it's basically by accident. You don't get to see death unless it's really surprising. Something like someone maybe committing suicide on a metro or somewhere, or just someone getting hit by a bus or some accident. It's rarely a natural death. And even then, they are quickly covered and transported somewhere else, and everyone averts their eyes and goes about their day. Which I think is really strange considering how big of a part in our lives death should play. And if you contrast it to how in history we've been always encircled by death, you could say. And if you can contrast it to how it's out in the wild, or even in some smaller towns or villages where death is all around you, either in the forest or when you have to kill an animal to eat it. Just that connection, I think, is something that is missing. In a strange way, I think people need to know that they have a deadline. I got this idea from a video where people were talking about how when you have a goal that you want to meet, or something that's set for you, you know that there is a deadline. So you know that at some point you have to finish it. You might procrastinate, but as you get closer to the deadline, you start getting nervous and that stress mode kicks in, and you often finish what you need at the last minute, but it still gets you to do something. But the deadline for the goals that you want to do in life are the only deadline is death. So you keep postponing it over and over and over again, and then 1 year later you look back and realize you've done nothing, even though it might have taken a day, a week, a month tops. I think that just because you don't get to see death, you can't be reminded by it that you should do something with your life now, or just finish anything that doesn't have a set deadline. So you just push it off and focus on the stuff that's right there. Why is it set up like that? You could always argue that, society wants you to be productive, so it wants to have the control over your deadlines, so they push death away so you can do that. But I would say that it's much more of an unintended consequence of how society's been set up, and the fact that it's uncomfortable and jarring and not exactly something you want in a day-to-day routine. Except for the fact that now that we have tried it, I think it might be beneficial, because it's a connection to our mortality that's missing. And I think that is something you need in your life in order to be able to focus on what you really want. It's a complicated topic, but the gist of it is, death is missing. We forget about how fragile and mortal we are, and then we just get lost in day-to-day or in some minor struggles, and we don't really compare those petty issues of ours with the bigger picture, because we don't get to see it anymore, so to speak. Ironically, I don't want it to sound morbid, but thinking about death helps you focus on life, or at least realizing that death is a real thing that's all around you. I'll need a lot more thinking to process that one, but I think it's worth mentioning because I don't see a lot of people even acknowledging something like that. So once they see that, they're like, oh my God, that's terrible. And they never take anything personal out of it. They just get frustrated or sad or mad or disgusted, anything you want. But they never take it personal. They don't learn from it. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.